Hey, everybody, and welcome to Ben and Nate's Questions That We Ask People on the Internet. I am one half of your host, Nate Pham, a licensed massage therapist, osteopath, and master musculoskeletal therapist. And when I'm not seeing patients in my office throughout the week, I'm on the road presenting for Eric Dalton and the Freedom from Pain Institute.
Hey, my name's Ben. I'm the other half of the host of Ben and Nate's Questions We Ask People on the Internet. I've been a massage therapist for over 20 years, and I am super excited to be on this episode of Ben and Nate's Questions We Ask People on the Internet because we have a very special guest. Nate, introduce this guest for us.
Wow, we're just going to fly right into it, man, because we have the honor and the privilege. And by the way, before I introduce her formally, the tables have actually turned because you know her as the massage mentor, Diane Matkowski. She's usually the one asking the questions and cheering people on. But tonight it's our turn to ask her the questions. Everybody give it up for the massage mentor, Miss Diane Matkowski.
Yes, I love you guys. Hi.
Yay.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
So before we get into it and hear all the amazing things about you, I want to welcome everybody. Ben, this is episode 19.
Good for you guys.
Episode 19. Have we been asking people questions on the internet for 19 episodes?
It's super fun, and there's a couple special things. So not only do we have Diane on our show tonight, and Diane is a massage legend, but this is also our first part due episode. And so that's pretty exciting. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. But before we get into things, Ben, how the heck are you since I last saw you?
Oh man, I'm doing great. Things have been going well here in Nebraska. No more tornadoes have hit. So we're all pretty safe here. What's new in New England?
What's new? Well, it's the sun has been shining. The weather's been nice. I've had a killer week in my practice so far. So all in all, man, it's been a pretty good week. And with that said, Diane, Ben and I always ask each other before we start the show, what's the best thing that's happened to us this week? So Diane, what's the best thing that's happened to you over the past week?
You know, it was really just an exciting thing for me was one of my therapists celebrated 10 years at my business Freedom Massage this week. 10
Wow.
years. Isn't that pretty cool? So that actually was the first thing that came to my head as far as business goes. I'm just really proud of her, and it's been really cool to be on this journey with her. So yeah.
Let's give her a shout out. What's her name?
Sarah.
Yeah.
Yay,
congratulations.
Sarah.
10 years.
10 years.
10 years. Ben and I have talked about in past episode that, in our early days in massage school, all the myths that went around. And one of those myths was that you wouldn't have a career in the massage field past 10 years. And I think combined on this episode, we've got about 80 years between the three of us, 80 years of massage experience between the three of us,
Yep.
which is pretty darn amazing. So with that being said, Ben, do you want to take us into part two of tonight's episode and tell us a little bit about why we're coming into a part two?
Yeah, we started off a couple episodes ago and we were talking about how do you determine what you're going to set your rates at as a massage therapist, as a solo practitioner. How are you going to set your rates? And we started talking about how are you going to set your rates, or how are you going to negotiate as an employee? And you brought up the great idea, hey, we know someone who hires people. Why don't we talk to Diane? So we decided, hey, let's bring in Diane to one of our next episodes and see what's going on and see what she knows. So Before we get too deep into that, I always have a couple of questions for you. So first off, Nate, I need to ask you, where do vampires keep their money?
Ben, where do vampires keep their money?
At the blood bank.
Yes.
And where do polar bears keep their money?
Diane, why don't you ask them where polar bears keep their money?
Where do they keep their money, Ben?
They keep their money in a snowbank. See where I'm going with this? So where do fish keep their money?
Oh man, it's many dad jokes for tonight, but we'll take one more.
In a riverbank. So then what do you find in a riverbank?
Oh boy. Where's this going? What do you find?
Sand dollars.
Yes.
All right, that's as far as I'm going to go with the
All
dad
right.
jokes.
All
Sorry
right.
about
I'm
that.
cutting you off.
Yeah.
All right. Diane, if somebody's listening to this episode or listening to this episode for the first time and they don't know who you are, which is hard to believe, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your history in the massage world, where you've been, what you've been doing, and where you're at these days.
So in 1996, I started my path and my journey as a massage therapist, and I had left my full-time job and began my journey of using my hands to make people smile, spread some joy. And so since 1996, I've been a massage therapist, and I haven't taken a paycheck from another business other than my practice and the massage business. So I feel really lucky. I don't even know what it's like to have a real job, because to me, this doesn't feel like a real job. You know, we get to help people all day long. Being off the floor now I'm off the floor, so I manage a business. I have a staff of 12 massage therapists that work with me in the Philadelphia area. And that's a lot of fun. And then I also have the Massage Mentor Institute. So it's home to the Jam series events, which is all the industry leaders. I know you guys talk about what an industry leader is. So with some other massage folks, and they're teaching classes on one body part. So I'm kind of all over the place now, Nate. But I have a place called Freedom Massage in the Philadelphia area, and that's really where my heart rests.
Yeah, you've done some pretty amazing things for the massage field, and I got to know you a little bit over COVID because we met at a Eric Dalton conference, and that's debatable. You say Oklahoma, I say Costa Rica, but we're not going to get into that tonight. And then I started hearing about your jams. So tell us about these jams a little bit. Tell us how you got started in that and what those are all about.
It's when you have a business, a lot of times you bring people in from school. Schools are fairly new, and I like to spend a lot of time with therapists that join me and give them training, teach them my secret sauces, kind of the way that I interact with clients. Just I really give it everything. One thing I can say for sure: anyone that comes and works in my business and leaves goes out a better massage therapist. That's something I'm really proud of. I can guarantee that is happening. So I forget the question.
So the question was, tell us about the jams. Like you've done a few of these jams. Tell us how you got into that.
So the jams were created because I was training therapists. I started to run out of tricks. I started running out of things to show them. Show us this for the shoulder, show us this for the hips. And I just was running out of material. So I thought, I've been interviewing all these people from all over the world, massage therapists like Eric Dalton, Till, Whitney Lowe. And I thought maybe it would be cool if they all got together and focused on one body part. And then I was like, oh, that's crazy. You're crazy. They're never going to do that, and the time was right because it was COVID. So everybody was a little slow. Nobody was doing live classes. So we went online and we did the shoulder jam, and we had hundreds and hundreds of people sign on. It was really high energy. And that did so well, we decided to do the hip jam, and then we decided to do the neck jam, and then we did the back jam. So it's amazing because all the classes are about 15 CEs. You get lifetime access, and you literally get 10 classes in one because you have all these guys giving 1 hour presentations about one body part. It's just like a bank. It's like a bank of wisdom in each jam. So I'm pretty honored. I'm pretty proud of that, bringing all that together. And the teachers have been bonding since then, from what I understand. They're starting to do more things together. So, and sometimes I get credit for that, which is amazing to me. I was just having a good time. So
I think you have a way of bringing people together, Diane. I got to ask you, maybe in the next series of jams, is there going to be a toe jam?
We have very lightly discussed the toe jam, because you probably could do a toe jam, because if someone's toes off, their whole body's off. But the next jam would be the foot jam. I'll tell you, I did 4 jams, and then we did something called the inside job. The inside job was a business event. which was also really great. So the next one will be the foot jam. I just needed a year off. I think we all needed a year off.
Sure. So people can still find these on your website, right? If I wanted to sign up and purchase one of these jams, I could still do that today.
MassageMentorInstitute.com.
All right. So in this part 2 episode, in part 1, Ben and I talked about finances. We talked about the history of what we charge in the massage world, and going back like probably 20 years ago, the status price was like $65, right? And I don't even know, what was it in 1996, Diane? What was the cost?
My rate was $50, and that was for house calls. So I would come to you with my massage table, wherever you lived. And when I say wherever you lived, that was one thing. I mean, I was traveling all over my county, going all kinds of places with all kinds of people and doing house calls for $50. And I couldn't be more excited about that.
So the price of massage has changed and it's evolved over the years. And, Ben and I discussed, why people might charge what they charge, how you go up on prices, why you might go up on prices, that sort of dual role of, you're the therapist, you're the specialist in the room, and then you have to go out there and also wear that hat of like, I'm raising my prices, right? So I've been an independent, I've been a sole business owner for a long time, and I know Ben owned a practice, but we wanted to get into it with you about having employees and what that's like. What brought you to open up a massage therapy practice or a multi-therapist practice, and when did you kick that off?
So for me, I had done a lot of different things when I first started doing massage. Like I said, the out calls, I had worked for another business for a while, and I've been like, listen, I built my book really quick. I want to get moving. What can I do? I'll do this for you. I'll do that for you. I'll do this. Oh, we don't really, and then I worked out, like I said, I worked out of my home, and then I started doing out calls, and I was by myself all the time, so I'm in my house, which I wouldn't recommend. There's so many good stories about working out of my home, but some people do it. It wasn't for me. I'd have people like waiting on my front doorstep. It got to be a little much. So
that's episode 25.
Yes.
Right.
So, I would just stand in my house looking out. I had a little kitchen window, just waiting for the next person to come, and then they'd come. And the only thing I was doing was talking to clients, and talking to clients, massage and talking to clients. And I had lost that bond that I had when I worked with other therapists. So I really started to wonder if this is kind of a community event, because there was no one pushing me. Meaning I wasn't around as many therapists. So I kind of started to lose the desire to learn and grow and do things. And I didn't have anyone to ask questions. And I started to feel less safe. And there was a lot of things that started kind of coming at me. And I thought, my God, I don't want to do this by myself anymore. And really, that's kind of how I had the idea. And I started talking to a client, and he said, you know what, Diane? I think you should do it. I think you should open a place. It's time to sink or swim. It's time to sink or swim. So I figured, what the hell do I have to lose? So I did. I opened up my first office. I was there for quite a while. I had one massage table. I had 2 therapy rooms and a lobby. I had nothing but a massage table. And I started rocking and rolling. And within a year, I hired my first staff member.
What year was that?
1996, I started. And then I think I opened up my own facility, and that started in like 2000, maybe 2001. I'm horrible with time and dates, but.
Isn't it kind of common that you see a massage therapist, they get their practice full and busy, and then what's the next step? So a lot of times I hear, well, I'm going to open up my own place because I only have 2 hands and I have way more people than I can deal with. So then, what's your thoughts on what's the next step after someone gets to a point where their business is full, their plate is full, they go on to open up their own business? How do you increase, because you're trying to obviously increase income, right? So you think, well, if I hire people, I can make more money. So what are your thoughts on where a massage therapist should go once their schedule's full?
My answer has changed through the years, I think. You figure I've been at this a long time, and I've been a owner and a boss, and it's not an easy job. You know, there's a lot that has happened over the last many years. You know, there's been a lot of people that have come, a lot of people have gone. There's been a lot of really happy times. There's been a lot of really sad times. I've had no money. I've had tons of stress. You know, it's a 24/7 job. I mean, you're dealing with everyone's personality. And then you have, you know, the whole thing where people have that authority figure thing with you. And I mean, it's a lot. So I think before you do anything, you realize that you're going to be managing people, and really take a hard look at yourself and your personality. Because if you decide not to do it, it doesn't make you any less than someone who does. So I think that that's really important. I think it's almost like my practice is full. I have to do this. I got to do this. Or if I don't do, I really do think we're a rare breed, business owners, entrepreneurs that have a staff. It's not easy. I've cried a lot. I really have. And so that would be the first thing I would say to someone. Okay, your book's full. Do you have like someone that you can talk to about this? What kind of business experience do you have? What kind of management experience do you have? And are you ready to work your ass off 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And that's just the truth. If you want to do well, especially now, because the market is pretty full. I wouldn't want to start a business now, honestly, unless I was in the perfect place, in a really good situation. I'm mentoring someone now that already has an office. There's 4 rooms. You know, she has a really low rent. I mean, it's a no-brainer for her. But that would be my first thing, was just make sure that you know what you're getting into.
Yeah, because massage school, when you graduate, they don't really teach you the business end, or at least when Nate and I went to school, we didn't get a whole lot of business. You know, it was how to be a massage therapist, all the other stuff with dealing with income, expenses, you know, taxes, all that stuff. I didn't get any of that in school. A year and a half ago, I just sold my interest in my business. At one point, we had 8 massage therapists that we employed. And I got to the point where I could run the business, but I preferred to work with people, you know, in the massage room on the table. And it got to be way too much to run the business. Like you said, be ready to work 48 hours in a day. And it was a lot for me. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to back off, and I'm just going to do what I like to do. And I'm going to get rid of the business part. And that's what I decided to do. So I kind of want to pick your brain about some of the things that you have encountered during your time running the business. Like, tell me what things are better since you started operating your business.
I'll talk about me personally. My pause has gotten longer and longer. Like if someone asked me a question, a staff member, I used to like rush for the answer. And now I'm always like, I mean, I take my time answering questions and making decisions that affect the group and the business. So I think for me, that's one thing that's definitely changed. And I feel a little calmer. Every year I get a little calmer, a little more peaceful.
How about what kinds of things have changed since you started your business?
I think too, another thing that's changed is it feels like there's less massage therapists. I don't know what happened since COVID, but I used to have a wait list of like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I want to say one time I had a wait list of 10 massage therapists trying to get into my business.
Wow.
So I feel like since COVID, there's been a little bit of a switch, and there was a little bit of a lull there with hiring people, but now I feel like that's gotten better.
Why do you think that is, that there's fewer massage therapists? I know Nate and I have talked about this, that the numbers graduating from massage school nationwide has significantly decreased. But you know, one of the questions I want to get into a little bit later on is the difference between working for someone as an employee versus working for yourself. So first off, let's go back to that first question. Why do you think there's less massage therapists out there?
I do think that it's not an easy job. I think that maybe people realized it wasn't an easy job. I'm not really sure why. I have no idea. For me, it was when I just fell in love with it right away. From the time I was really young, I was always rubbing people's shoulders. They'd pay me 10 cents and then a quarter, and then I made $1. And then so when I found out you can make a living doing massage, I was like, oh my God. So for me, I'm not really sure. I wouldn't even dare guess. I do think that things kind of have a tendency to, you know, boom, and then they come back down. And I think we're going to hit a point. This is just my guess. We'll hit a point where it almost goes full circle. I think the industry boomed, and I think you have all these things happening and all this money flying around with scholarships and able to do this and able to do that. And I do think it's going to go full circle. And I know there's less money and less ability to get those scholarships. And then there's going to be less massage. I think everything's going to I think it's just going back to the way it was more. I mean, there was 190,000 of us, I think, in the United States in 96, something like that. It wasn't 200,000. Now there's like way more. So I think we're just kind of going back. I think it's kind of balancing out. Why? Because it's nature, I think.
Let me ask you this. What do you see as a benefit to working as an employee versus being a sole proprietor? Why would someone say, hey, I want to come work for Freedom Massage?
I have been for 20 some years trying to make it the most beautiful place to work. And like I said, I have not always been the best boss. 100%. I've definitely said the wrong thing, done the wrong thing. I will never pretend that I was always great by any means. And but I have to say, so we get PTO. You know, you kind of build your hours to suit yourself. You come in, your book's full of massages. You have beautiful sheets that are clean and ready to go. You have lotion. You have what is James Waslowski's cryoderm, whatever.
Yes.
Heated stuff. You have lavender, you have citrus, you have whatever kind of essential oil you want. You have tables that go up and down, the top goes up and down, the feet go up and down. You have music, gorgeous music playing throughout. You get snacks. I make sure they have snacks so in case they get hungry. They have 2 refrigerators. They have computers everywhere to do contact logs. So everyone takes logs, and then they can read what the other person did with that person. And like when they come in, they do their thing and they go home. And most of the scheduling's done and everything else. So what were you going to say, Nate? I'm sorry, I get excited.
No, I was just wanted to go off that. But yeah, it's an interesting thing, right? Because I'm like Ben, like I like to be in the trenches. I like to be in my room. I love being with my patients all day. And I have a small practice. I have a couple of people that sublease from me. And I think any more than that, just because of where I love to be. But, Ben and I talked about this on the last episode, or, the part 1 of this, that, 20 years ago, right? 26 years ago, or 23 years ago in your case, there were no franchises to work out. Business classes were subpar at best in massage school itself. It was like, here's your license. Good luck, kid. So places like yours, I mean, you started to exist in 2000, right? And I think about it, man, in 2006, when I graduated from massage school, there was no place like yours. There was no massage, and you're not a franchise, but there was nothing like that. There was no get a job somewhere. So I think it's a pretty good thought, particularly for if I was getting out of school now in 2024, I'd say, man, like I would want to do that. I want to go get a job somewhere because they're few and far between. And everything that you just told us, man, that sounds like a pretty amazing massage practice to work for. This doesn't sound too bad at all to have all that stuff supplied, because here's the thing, since this really is about what we charge as a business, right? And that's kind of like the main overview of this episode, that, if I charge, whether I charge $115 a session, $130 a session, $200 a session, $65 a session, whatever you want to say, as the person that owns the business, and if I'm in the trenches, I still have to clean the toilets. I still have to vacuum the floor. I have to make sure that laundry goes in and out. I have Monday morning and like pray to whatever you believe in. that that nothing devastating happened over the weekend, because you always have to have those thoughts running through your head. Am I going to come in and is my office going to be flooded? Not that that would happen up here, but you get my point. So all those stresses as sort of a business owner, wearing those hat, that hundred and whatever dollars you charge a session starts to be more like, maybe when you think about it,
How
30
much
bucks.
time, how much time you took to generate the client.
Yeah, correct. Everything. So we come to work for your practice, right? So in the beginning of this episode, you're celebrating somebody that worked there for 10 years. And you've got how many therapists total? 12 therapists total.
Oh, yeah.
Are any of them full-time, or are they all part-time?
They all do massage at Freedom Massage. So
Yeah.
some of them are moms, so it's a great job for moms. Some of
Totally.
them are in school. It's a great job to be in school. We have one gentleman who's retired and found massage after retirement. So
Cool.
he's busy being retired, so it varies person to person. Yeah.
One thing that I heard when you were talking about the benefits of working at Freedom Massage is that you are a massage therapist. You know what it's like to work on 4 people in a row without a break. You know what it's like, but you've been there. You know what it's like. And so you set up the business, or at least, I'm just thinking about this out loud. You're a massage therapist. And I also did this when I set up my business. I want it to be set up how I would want to work. And I wouldn't want anyone to do anything that I wouldn't do either. And so I'm going to set this up to make it as easy for you. You show up, you clock in, you do your work, you go home. I'm going to take care of everything else. I'm going to take care of your advertising. I'm going to take care of your laundry. I'm going to take care of everything else. Like, I think that's a huge benefit to working at a place. Now you look at like a place like Massage Envy, and they might have the budget for, the big advertising and stuff like that. But those owners don't know what it's like to be a massage therapist. Am I right?
Yeah.
So there's a couple things I'll say. At Freedom Massage, one of the things is everyone contributes to kind of keeping things and doing laundry and keeping things moving. So if you have downtime where you don't have a client, you get paid and you do things around the office. So that's another little perk. So everybody does kind of participate in being helpful. So I do want to
Cool.
say that.
Sure.
So then the other thing, and it's just like this, it's like this beautiful thing. Even all the new people are like, it's like a well-oiled machine. There is a way to set it up so that it is smooth and people get their breaks and everyone kind of gets what they want. And I think, again, that is because I was a massage therapist and am a massage therapist, like you were saying, Ben. Everybody gets 30-minute breaks in between their sessions. If they want 15, they can have them, but I wouldn't recommend it. So 30 minutes in between sessions. So it's kind of all set up to revolve around them. So I was at this school, right? And I was one of the people on the panel. So they would ask me for feedback, right? And I'm waiting in the lobby. Now, this isn't like a cut or anything like that. This is what I was talking to Nate about. Like, I feel like massage therapists should take back the massage business. There's people that are good at business and there's people that are good solo practitioners. There's all kinds of a wide variety. But anyway, so that's a whole other subject. So I'm at this school and I'm sitting in the lobby and there's a woman there and I'm like in my massage gear. She's like in this business suit. And I'm like, oh, so you're here for the panel. You're a massage therapist. She goes, oh, no. I said, oh. She said, no, I own XYZ. It's a franchise. I own XYZ. I said, oh, really? I said, so you must love getting massage. She said, well, I never got massage until I opened up the facility. And I was like, oh. And this is like a few years ago when it all started happening. And I was like, really? She said, yeah, I used to own a daycare and I really like the business model of this franchise. I said, really? I said, do you mind me asking you something? And she said, no, not at all. I said, how much did you pay for it? She said, like $400 and some $100,000, right? So you have to have a certain building, you have to buy all their furniture, and you have to buy all their software, and then they take an ongoing percentage of your business for the rest of your life. So for me, that was when I started to go, so now we have just business owners who don't know what we need and that we're human. and what it feels like to do 4, 5, 6, 7 sessions, kind of running the show. And that's a little buzzkill for me. And I'm not saying it's been a bad thing, because it really has helped us grow, but I don't know why I just told that story. You can cut it out if you want.
No,
We love stories. We love
do.
stories on Ben and Nate's questions that we ask people on the internet.
So again, that was one of my first, like, oh man, like, therapists need a place to go. And I feel like I'm like a rescuer from, like, a lot of people come to me, and when they find me, they were working at some of the bigger places that aren't run by massage therapists. And they're just like, the rooms have windows. We get breaks, they're like, they don't know what to do with themselves. So
my
there's
boss
that.
my boss gives me like a 5-minute break in between.
Yeah.
You got 2 minutes to eat lunch. Go.
Go.
No, I don't know. I like breaks. I like breaks in between.
Yeah.
Not too long, not too short. But
Ben and I discuss prices. So, you don't have to tell all your secrets here, but do you have tiered how you pay your employees? Like, if I've been there with you for 10 years versus like I'm just starting out?
so here's what happened. Just even I think it was a couple of years ago, my therapist, one of the therapists that worked for me said, Diane, we're not making enough money. I'm like, what do you mean? You're making money. And he said, no, I don't think we are. So he put together a chart and he showed me that wasn't, I was, I got behind, and I was like, no, I want to be the highest. I gotta be. So I started paying more. So there's a beginning rate, and then you just keep getting added on.
So what do you think, and again, you don't have to answer this about your own business, but what do you think the variable pay should be for an employed massage therapist? Like, what does that look like in your mind? And this is a 2-part question. The second part question is back to your practice. Do you know the percentage of therapists that get, if I see 20 clients out a week in your practice, what's the percentage of clients that tip your therapist? Do you know that?
God. That is, our Freedom Massage clients love to tip.
They'd love to tip. There
They
you go.
love to tip. So I've even through the years had people be like, $50, $100. So, a lot of the people that come in, we have very generous clients. That's just,
Cool.
I've never been like, no, don't take the tips.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So they, from what I understand, do quite well.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very strange that people don't.
What do you think the variable pay should be, like, in general? If I'm looking for a job as an employee, what do you think that looks like in the massage world these days?
I feel like that's a loaded question, and it would depend on area. That's kind of how we did it. We did what all the other businesses were charging. We looked around and saw what all the other businesses were paying, and then just tried to pay a little bit more.
Cool.
So you can kind of do research. What we did was, I have to give Brandon credit. He went online and was on Indeed. He did all kinds of research, did some calling around, found out what the rates were, and just made sure that we were ahead of the rates and charge. And I always try to charge about what everyone else is charging, but just a little bit more.
And by the way, when we initially posed the question online, out of all the responses that we got, everybody included that as part of their answer, to do the research in their area. So right on with that.
So different. I think I do think it's different, say here versus Oklahoma City versus Hawaii versus.
Sure.
Really hard to say. I wouldn't say it's got to be like this split. I don't know. I think
that's cool though, Diane, because that's really right in line with a lot of responses that we got. So
yeah, an employee has to make a certain amount of money in order to live, right? And you need to make sure that they're getting that. But then also, Diane, your business isn't a charity. You need to make money also. And if you're not making enough money, it doesn't make any sense to have a business.
It
so
doesn't.
To speak.
Yeah, there's definitely
there's a balance.
There's been times where I've just been like, and then I'm like, ah! But I do think that people have to live, and I think massage is a great job, and one that you don't have to work 5, 6, 7 days a week, and you can still make a decent income.
One of the things we talked about last episode was people did research and found out what others were charging in their area. So that's how they determined what they were going to charge. And one of the other things that we brought up was not necessarily to base it off of what other people charge, but base it off of what are your expenses? How much do you need to make? I need to make X amount in a year. And then you work backwards from there and say, okay, in order to make that, and I want to do whatever, 15 massages a week. And in order to do that, you do the math and you're like, okay, I need to charge this much. So you work backwards from there. So it doesn't matter, if Sally across the road is charging X amount, it's got nothing to do with what she charges. It's all about black and white numbers for you. I want to make this much. So in order to make that happen, I need to charge this much. And if you're not good enough, you can't do that. That was one of the things we brought up too. So then looking at it from a business point of view is if you looked at how much it costs to do one massage. How much does it cost the business to do one massage? How much does it cost for rent, supplies, utilities, lotion, all that stuff?
Lotion, you want to know how much lotion costs? A 5-gallon thing? $400. $400 for a 5-gallon tub of, it's $390 on Amazon now to buy a 5-gallon jug of lotion. I mean, it's just, remember those little, the little, you can buy the little containers, they're like 12 ounces. They used to be like $19. They're like $25, $30 now. So, yeah. I mean, the cost of everything really has kind of gone up. So I do, yeah. I definitely have expenses for sure.
Yeah. So then that could, in essence, influence how much you're able to pay, or it influences how much you need to charge.
Well, too, you have to think too is if you have employees. When my payroll comes back, so I could basically have another building, and probably a whole other business with all the taxes I pay every payroll. So payroll taxes, taxes alone, I don't think people can wrap their head around how much money I pay in taxes. It's sad. I look at it and I want to. It's just, I can't even. So, you pay your employees and you're like, oh, you feel good, and then you look at how much money you pay in taxes and you're like, I could have another business if I had that. If I had that money, what a difference I could make. But they take so much out of, and then they take it out of the employee's paycheck too. But the thing is, I love this point, is if you're an employee, you get taxed 7.65% less than someone who's not an employee, because people who aren't employees, which is so weird to me, we get penalized, right? I have to pay self-employment tax.
Oh yeah.
So the employees, I don't know if people understand this. As an independent contractor, you should be getting paid a buttload more money, because that person who is housing you is paying no taxes on you. Okay, they're saving a shit ton of money. That's another thing. It makes me crazy. So taxes alone for me, I think, have been a huge wake-up call as a business owner. I think that's probably the most painful part of having employees. But we decided early on that the best option for people working for me was to be an employee, because I'm putting money towards their Social Security. 1099, I hope you have a really great accountant who's doing that for you. So, all the money's kind of getting put aside. They get their cute little W-9s at the end of the year, and they usually get money back.
Yeah, I feel like that could be a whole nother episode talking about.
That is a big episode. I think that's one of the things that they're the kind of things that people don't, until you do it, you don't really know.
Let me ask you this, Diane. Is there another, what's the closest, so you have Freedom Massage in the Philly area, Fraser, Pennsylvania, correct?
Mm-hmm.
To your knowledge, and I'm sure you know this, what's the next closest business distance wise in your area that I could possibly, if I was searching to go look?
there's definitely some franchise nearby. I mean, I have a couple of fellow business owners who have businesses similar to mine that are kind of nearby. One that I kind of hang out with once in a while. She's really cool. So her and I once in a while just sit and have lunch and be like,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
But so there's there's a good handful. There's a woman a mile up the road who's a sole practitioner. They're all around. There wasn't like that before either. People can just, you have to do something special. You have to be
Sure.
very, to keep it going now, because people have a lot of options.
So
It
then
took me-
you said you have to do something special. What does Freedom Massage do that's special, that's different than everyone else?
I think that from the moment you walk in the door, one of my big things is, be ready for your client. Make sure you're ready. Our facility is spotless. We have a bunch of we're all neat freaks. So everything is spotless, clean as could be. And the way, we make sure we're ready and waiting to greet people. I have a client that's been coming to me since 1996. She has been with me for this whole time, and she still comes. And once in a while, we'll all gather in the lobby when we know her and her wife are coming in, and we applaud.
Yeah.
Seriously, so
That's
we
awesome.
we have fun. Everybody tries to know everyone's clients' names. You make sure you say hello. You make sure you're waiting for people. I have snacks for clients. We give new client bags with a letter from me, a bottle of water, really nice sheets. I think probably the personalities of the people that I hire and the way that they interact with clients and how welcoming they are. I think that's probably, and when you walk through the place, everyone's saying hello to you.
Ben and I, for the last almost 20 episodes, love to rap about current evidence-based models and practices, and is it the art of touch that gets people better, or is it something else? And we've talked extensively about everything that you just said. As a client, right, as a patient, can I get to your office without getting lost? Can I come in the front door and be greeted, whether it's my first visit or my 500th visit? Can I be greeted in a way, I've been coming to see you since 1996, and you're treating me like it's, the first visit, and then all these extras, and it's been proven and researched tremendously. And I love talking about this stuff in my seminars, but that you haven't even touched the client, and they're already, their low back pain, their neck pain, whatever they've come in for, they're feeling better, and I always think it's cool, even if it's just one person, right? You have one person that's been seeing you since 1996. My very first paying client since 2006 is still coming to see me. I actually just saw her yesterday morning, right? And it's just like, it's a pretty amazing thing, right?
Such an honor.
It's a total honor when you really think about it, because right, you've evolved not only as a therapist, but as a business owner. I've evolved, Ben's evolved, and there's plenty of people listening to this that have evolved. Right. And so for somebody to stick with you through all those life changes just says a lot,
So many.
probably a lot more than we ever know.
And we've stuck by, we've been there with them through their life changes too.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, all of us here, right? Everybody on this podcast right now, we're all at the point in our career and probably into it. And I'm kind of just entering this, right? I've been entering this over the past year, where I'm realizing that over the past year, I've had clients that I've been seeing for so long, and they've passed away, right? So there's been that. I've had clients that I saw through their pregnancies, and now their kids are 12 or 13, and they're bringing them in to have me, check their backs. And it's like a pretty wild thing, and all those extra things that you're doing that you just said. If you're listening to this podcast, rewind that 20 seconds over and over and over again, and keep listening to that, because what you just said, Diane, and what we're talking about now that's about $20,000 worth of free advice right there.
That is the one thing that will set you apart from anyone else. I mean, one of the rules that I live by is I make sure that person, I treat them like they are the only person that I'm seeing for today.
Yeah.
The only person in the world.
The only person in the world. Me and them. That's it for the next whatever hour and a half. That's it. You and me.
And the cool thing is that you can use that to your advantage too, as a massage therapist. It doesn't have to be, it can actually be almost like this cool tool that you use to get yourself outside of yourself. So say you have a whole bunch of shit going on, you make an agreement that when the client comes in, you're going to put your stuff aside and you're going to focus on them. And it gives your brain a little bit of a break from all that outside chatter. And you just sink into what you're doing. So for me, that whole thing as not being on the floor anymore is something I really miss, because the client would come and I'd be like, put it aside. You have 1 hour of a break from your life and you're totally in with them. And all day long getting to do that. And then at the end of sessions, everyone will be like, oh my God, you're so great. Oh my God, I feel so much better. Do you know how much I miss that? Like, because you get to break up the thoughts, you get to break up the things going on for you, and you get to focus on someone else and help them, which is probably one of the best medicines there is. So
That's another, man. We just had like 3 podcast spinoffs alone right there. That's episode 25, 6, and 7. And kind of starting to get to the end of the road here. So how many hours do you think that you put in a week overseeing your business, and do you have somebody managing the store for you?
now I probably put in less time than I ever have, but you figure it's been a really long time. When I say put in less time, I mean, I'm not always in the office now. I do a lot of stuff remote. So I like I said, I really do have an amazing team. It's like every year, everything keeps getting better. And not that I don't love everyone that's ever been there. Every morning, I want you to know, seriously, I do this. Every morning I wake up and I say a little, I wish the best to all the employees that are with me now. And I say thank you to all the people who have ever been with me. And I hope they're doing fantastic, so that's kind of like something that I like to do too. So if you have a practice, wish the people and be thankful always for all the people that have ever been with you. And then also be really thankful for the people that you have. So my schedule now is I have a lot more freedom, thus the name Freedom Massage. My staff is so strong right now. I almost feel like a manager. We're still talking about it. I had a manager for a while, but I don't know if we'll go back to that, just because it's very, everyone kind of just does what needs to be done and everything runs pretty smooth. So I don't know, it can be done. If you're out there and you're thinking about starting a business, it can be done, and you can find the right people, you can set it up the right way, so it kind of almost runs itself. I still have to deal with the hey, I still have to be, I'm tough. Look how tough I am. I'm tough. I still have problem solving, and I still have clients and stuff to deal with. And I still pay the bills, of course.
Well, whether you're in the trenches or whether you own a practice, man, there's a lot of different ways to charge and run things. So once again, if you're listening to this, man, if I heard this 20 years ago, I don't even know.
Having your own thing is, you're always thinking about it. I'm always thinking about it. And I want to make sure that everyone's taken care of and people keep coming in, and it's been a journey. It's been fun. It's been cool.
What do you think, Ben? Do you want to go work for Freedom Massage? Because I do.
I was just thinking about it. What would that be like?
It's not a bad gig. We don't, we're not hiring right now, but I could keep you guys in the loop.
I'll get my resume together.
Okay, me too. In triplicates.
I'm really proud of it, like I said. And I feel like another thing too that I think is important is allowing everyone knows, especially now, that they can come to me and with ideas, problems, solutions. And I'll listen. If you're going to be in a leader, sometimes I think you have to walk behind and really let them lead. So yeah.
Well, I think if you're a business owner and you haven't met Diane, I would give her a call and get mentored because I think that's pretty amazing stuff that you laid out for us tonight, Diane. We appreciate that.
And I appreciate you guys. I think it's great that you guys are doing the podcast. And I'm gonna put it on my page, and you're doing a great job, and you're both just such great guys.
We're having a blast doing this. And I'll tell you, I've seen probably a year or so ago, I've been seeing the massage mentor and all this stuff. And I'm like, what would it be like to interview the person that does all the interviews? I never thought in a million years I would have this opportunity. So it's so cool. This is so awesome that we got this opportunity to talk with you, and I got to ask you some questions, and I'm still super nervous about it. But I mean, you're easy to talk to, so I appreciate it so much.
Anytime. I love the chat.
Are we the first people that have interviewed you? Probably not.
Just say yes. Let's just say
We'll just say yes. Probably not though.
yeah, yes.
So listen, in closing, where can people find you, the massage mentor? Where can I find you on the socials and your website?
So right here on my name on here is at the Massage Mentor Closed Group. So the Massage Mentor Closed Group on Facebook is a great place to start. The Massage Mentor Institute.com. And then, if you ever want to check out a website, one thing that I used to do was check out other people's website. Check out my website. It's www.freedommassage.com. And you can kind of see, my team and how the page is set up and how it works.
And with that being said, are you going to be anywhere special anytime soon?
I'm very excited to be in Costa Rica with you, Nate, and Eric Dalton. So I get to do the special events with Eric Dalton. I do the social media for him when he travels, and I get to hang out with Nate and sometimes Ben in Oklahoma City. So I'm very excited to get some sun.
Yeah. I said 20 years ago, and I say this a lot, you have that little moment in the morning where you thank, your employees and the people that have worked for you and work with you now. And I get up in the morning and I'm like, man, holy shit, 20 years ago, if you told me that I was going to be hanging out with people like Eric and you guys, this is like a dream come true. And that's my thank you every day.
Yeah. So, I remember when I met you in Oklahoma City for the first time.
Yeah.
You said
Ben, I remember meeting Ben in Oklahoma City for the first time with Eric Stevenson. So
all of it, I just feel I never thought, here we are.
Well, what say you, Ben? What's your big takeaway from tonight, Mr. Ben?
Big takeaway. Oh man, it doesn't matter who you are, where you've been, you can change and you can go to work for a business. You can work for yourself. There's lots of cool people, but I do think hearing from Diane, it's cool to be able to have the opportunity to work for someone who knows the industry and not just from a franchise. I'm not saying franchises are bad. There's a lot of good things about franchises. They can probably give a lot more benefits than maybe a smaller place could. There's lots of opportunities out there. And right now, I said this in a previous episode, right now is the best time to be an employee. Everyone is looking, except for Freedom Massage, apparently, because we got to send in our resumes. But
if you want to send in your resume, go ahead.
Okay. But I think right now is the best time to be an employee if you want to do that. If the time is right for you and the pay is right. Pay, I feel, is always negotiable. So, those are kind of my big takeaways. How about you, Nate? What's one of your big takeaways?
Man, it's hard, everything you said, and hearing Diane talk about her practice, I would only hope more people that listen to this that are thinking about, running their own practice, take a note from the way Diane's doing it. Everything from the, supplying everything to making your employees just feel totally loved, the clients feeling loved. I don't know. There's too many takeaways tonight. The whole episode for me.
Oh gosh.
That's the way it's going to be. So here's the deal. Thank you for tuning in to episode 19 of Ben and Nate's Questions That We Ask People on the Internet, part 2, with special guest Diane Matkowski, the massage mentor. And listen, this will have already probably aired, but next week we're going to be looking forward to our Podiversary, episode number 20. And in episode 20, we're inviting massage therapists far and wide to log on to this podcast live. And everyone's going to get a chance to be on this podcast and answer the question, what do you love most about being a massage therapist? So we're hoping to see everybody tune in live on May 21st at 8 p.m.
Can't wait to see you. Come and interact with us on our Facebook page at Ben and Nate's Questions that we ask people on the internet. Find us on your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We'd love for you to come hang out with us. Give us a listen. Tell other people about us. And thanks for watching, listening.
Thanks, everybody. Peace.
You guys rock.